What's up, social media? How are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. Dave Uloa here, coming to you live from Vero Beach, Florida. And today is Thursday, June 6, 2023. And I had a conversation the other day with an old high school friend that got me thinking and really inspired me to share some things and do a financial masterclass, if you will. And it got inspired because I was actually, it's funny, he knew me back when in high school, and he also knew me in college, and he knew me when I was a police officer, and then followed my journey onto becoming an entrepreneur. And he asked me, thank you for jumping on. I see you. He asked me something, and if you're just jumping on, if you're live, feel free to smash a 1. If you're watching this on a replay, hit a 2. And if you don't know me, would love to connect with you. But he started asking me questions about how, he's like, I knew you way back when you were in high school and college, and you were a cop and you were struggling financially. And the next thing I know, you're on magazines and you're traveling around the world, and now they're calling you blue collar millionaire. And he started asking me, like, how did you do it? And I never really thought about it. So I just started rattling off different things that, as I started remembering where I was, the things that my wife and I started to do to change our situation. And last night I had a dream, and it inspired me that maybe there's some people out there on social media and in the world that are like me, or was like me, that we're looking for answers. We work really hard. We maybe went to high school, graduated high school, got a college degree, and we're in a career, but we're good people and we don't mind working hard, but we can't seem to get ahead. And so I thought, you know what, let me share some of these principles and some of these things that Yvette and I did, from mindset to practical things that we applied, that helped us go from being broke to being very, very successful financially in life. And so what I'll share with you is this masterclass that I'm going to do. I'll do a Facebook Live between 2 and 4 o'clock, almost on a daily basis. And it's not for somebody who's stuck in the blame game, that's blaming other people for your current situation. I used to be there, and that's not who this is for, though. It's also not for somebody that is maybe in the comfort zone, where you're just comfortable and you're just kind of going along and everything is okay. And you might have the arrival syndrome, that you feel like you've arrived. That's not who this is going to be for. And it's not going to be for a trust fund baby that has got all the money and maybe no drive whatsoever. This is for people that were maybe like me, where I was a police officer for 10 years, and I thought I was doing the right thing. I was working really hard, but it just seemed like the harder I worked, the less time that I had. The harder I worked, the less money. There was more month at the end of the money, And I stopped blaming other people. This is for people that maybe you're at a job right now where you don't feel 100% fulfilled. You don't feel like you are earning what you deserve to be earning. Maybe you're at a place where you know that there's more to life, or maybe there's a purpose or a mission that you've been searching for, and what you're currently doing is not where you want to be in as far as life, as far as mission and purpose in your financial situation. This may be also for somebody that hit a home run one time, and all of a sudden you lost it all. And maybe it was the 2008 economic chaos that happened, and you were invested in real estate, and maybe you hit a home run in business, and then all of a sudden the economy and the pandemic came and took everything, and you're at a place now where you know you have the ability to succeed, but you're in this place right now where you're looking to recharge and go on another run. That's who really this is for. We're going to be going live on Instagram and live on Facebook and sending it out to our community. So if you're jumping on, love to say hello. Hello, Susanna. Good to see you. I know you guys are working really hard, and man, I've seen you guys come a long way since we first started to connect as well, just how you worked on yourself. And so today's first one And as a matter of fact, if we don't know each other or we do know each other, feel free to put in a comment section, how do we know each other? Would love to have some interaction so I get to know who you guys are. And today's topic is going to be financial mindset. Financial mindset. And if you're not a reader, I encourage you to be a reader, because I wasn't a reader. I didn't like reading high school and college, but what I realized, if you want to have more success, what's up, everybody from WV? Okay, I know we got a lot of WV family members. Thank you for sharing. And I realized that there's so much knowledge and wisdom in the books, and what you put in is what you get out. And there was a book that I read called Smart Couples Finish Rich by David Bach. And in that book, there's 5 questions, he said, he can ask any human being. And with about 99% rate, he can tell whether that person is going to be financially free, whether that person is going to be a millionaire or not. And there's 5 questions, 99% shot he can tell. And the first question he asked is, do you want to be financially free? Do you want to be a millionaire? Do you want to be wealthy? Because in any book that you've ever read, like Think and Grow Rich, it all starts with a burning desire. If that's not something that's even in your radar, then chances of it happening is probably slim to none, right? So do you want to be wealthy? That's the first question. And with that mindset, then you can go to the next step. And I'm here to tell you, life is not all about money, for sure. That's not the most important thing for Yvette and I. The most important thing for us, as a matter of fact, is having impact, is having a life where we look back and we say, man, that life was worth living. But in order to do that, in my humble opinion, it takes resources to have a greater impact. If you want to contribute to your church or to your foundation or a nonprofit that you're proud of, you got to have the resources to do it. You want to have a big impact in this world, you got to have the resources to do it. So yeah, money is not all about money, but having money gives you access to have more impact. So do you want to be wealthy? Feel free to put it in the comment section. Do you want to be financially free? Yes or no? Do you want to be a millionaire? Yes or no? There's no right or wrong answer, but the ones that I'm talking to for this masterclass series that I'm going to do for the month of July, through the inspiration of having a conversation with my friend, are speaking to you. The other 4 questions from David Bach, I'll be sprinkling them in over the next several days so that you guys can have all 5 questions. But that's question number 1 he asked. If they say yes, he moves on to the next questions. And if he says no, he says, no worries. There's no point in going on to the next section. So what I wanted to share is, we all have, in my experience, we all have a financial thermostat. And our financial thermostat, I didn't know that I had a financial thermostat. And our financial thermostat is determined from all of our experiences, our perceptions, our beliefs, our values. And usually all of that is set between 0 to 7 years old. That's how much information, and that's where a lot of our beliefs and values and ways of being is set, from 0 to 7 years old. And for most of us, we hear a lot of conversations of, no, stop, don't do that, from our parents and friends and teachers, as opposed to, yes, go for your goals. You can dream as high as you want to. How many of us have ever heard of, get your head out of the cloud? That's not for you. Those are for the other people. And so, well, I realized we all have a financial thermostat. And how do you determine your financial thermostat? Is you take the last 3 years of the total income that you've earned from your job, your business, your investments, from anything that you've gotten income in that's on your taxes. Easy way to do it is to look at all the income that came in of the last 3 years and divide it by 3. When you do that, that number, whatever that number is your financial thermostat. Well, what does that mean? Well, we all know what a thermostat is, right? The thermostat is, we have a thermostat in our homes. We have it in our office. We have it in our car. And the thermostat, we can actually program that thermostat to a certain temperature. And that certain temperature is what our financial thermostat is. When Yvette and I, we had both of our jobs. She was working for the project manager for the city of Burbank, and I was a police officer for the LAPD. Our combined financial thermostat was about $200,000 a year. She was earning six figures. I was earning six figures. So as a household, it was $200,000 per year. That was our financial thermostat. How do I know? Well, because we did this exercise years ago. Shout out to our mentor and dear friend, John Asseroff, who shared this with us. And so what happens with a thermostat? If, let's say, the thermostat is programmed at 70 degrees, and all of a sudden, a whole bunch, let's just say the window opens up and all this cold air comes in. And it's programmed at 70, but all this cold air comes in. And now all of a sudden, that thermostat, the temperature in the room goes down to 50 degrees. Well, what happens in the room? Well, the thermostat realizes, man, we're down to 50 degrees. We actually got to get it back up to 70 degrees because that's where we're programmed to be. So all of a sudden, the heater turns on and hot air starts coming into the room. Well, for many of us, that happens with our financial situation as well. If you're programmed at, let's say, $100,000 a year, and all of a sudden something major happens in your life, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a loss of a job, or something outside of your control, like an economic situation happens, and all of a sudden now you're down to $50,000 a year, all of a sudden the burners turn on saying, hang on a second, I'm not a $50,000 a year earner, I'm a $100,000 a year earner. Now all of a sudden you start doing things consciously and unconsciously to get back to where you're programmed to be, which is $100,000 a year. Maybe you go back to school, learn a new trade. Maybe you start a part-time business. Maybe you start to make some good investments and you get yourself back up to 100,000 because that's where you're programmed to be. Well, on the opposite side, the same thing happens. What happens if all of a sudden you're programmed, your financial thermostat is at 100,000, and all of a sudden you start making $200,000 a year, but your programming is at $100,000. Has anybody here ever sabotaged their finances? I'll be raising my hand. Has anybody here ever just kind of thrown away money, maybe done some stupid things with your money, giving your money to other people, made some investments that you look back and you're like, I can't believe I did that, started a business and you kind of threw money at it? Has anybody ever done that before? And what happens? $200,000 you're making a year, but you're programmed at 100. All of a sudden, the cold air, the cold air starts coming in, just like the temperature. If the temperature goes up, the thermostat says, we need to put some cold air here to get it back to where you're programmed to be. So we all have a financial thermostat. So then the question becomes, if we do have that, how do we break free? How do we break through from that financial thermostat to go to the next level? Instead of just 100,000, what if you wanted to make $1 million a year? Well, the first part, in my humble experience, and over this masterclass, we're going to go over debt elimination. We're going to go over infinite banking. What's the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee? The cash flow quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki, some of the secrets of the millionaire mind. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of simple masterclasses, maybe 5 to 10 minute videos here on Instagram and Facebook Live to share with you some of the things that helped us to transition from being a broke cop to going into blue-collar millionaire. Because when I look back, what we do today is not what we did to make that transition, because it is a massive leap. It's a mindset shift, but also there's some simple things that you can start doing today. I'm going to give you some practical things that you can start doing today to start changing your financial situation forever. As an example, how many of you know what your latte factor is? Right? How many understand the power of contribution and how much you give out comes back to you? But the first thing is, do you have that desire? Because if you have that desire, then you can go to the next step. My dad always taught me a success formula that I applied not only in sports, but in business and in our finances. And here's what it is. Number one is desire. You gotta have the desire. If you have the desire to be a professional athlete, if you have a desire to be a successful business person, if you have the desire to be financially free, it all has to start with that. It doesn't happen by accident. Somebody might not have a desire and they become a millionaire. How? They win the lottery. But for the majority of the people that win the lottery, within 4 years, they end up losing all their money. Why? Because they didn't earn it. They didn't feel like they deserved it. And so they end up losing it. Number two is belief. Do you believe that you can be a millionaire? Do you believe that you can be wealthy? Do you believe that in yourself? Well, sometimes maybe we don't believe. Well, how do we build that belief? And this is where the mindset comes in. But then the third part, he said, desire plus belief plus action. See, there's things that we have to do. You can't just sit on the couch and meditate and pray and think that all of this abundance is going to come to you. There are things that you and I have to do in order to go make it happen. I'm going to give you one simple thing today that you can start doing immediately to start changing your stinking thinking. And that first thing that changed everything for Yvette and I, we went from broke to becoming a blue-collar millionaire, was changing our self-talk. Was changing our self-talk. Does anybody here realize that we talk to ourselves on a regular basis? Hey, what's up, Peter? Thank you for dropping by. Appreciate you, Susanna, as well. Does anybody ever catch yourself thinking? And most of the thoughts that we have, are they inspiring thoughts? Are they empowering thoughts? Are they all about going for our goals and dreams and taking risks and getting out of our comfort zone? Of course they're not. Most of us are unconsciously, constantly focusing on the things that aren't working, on the lack, on the debt, on the credit, on all the things that we don't want. And what we know is what you focus on expands. What you focus on grows. So if you're focusing on what you don't want, you're going to go in that direction, even though you don't want it. A simple shift in focus can change your life to focus on where you want to go. But the first part to that is changing our stinking thinking. Is changing the languaging and the words that you say to yourself. I challenge each and every one of you to one day, just for 24 hours, every time you have a thought, jot it down. You'll be amazed on the little thoughts that come in, and most of it is happening unconsciously, but most of them are constantly about fear and doubt and lack and scarcity. And it's not because you and I are bad people. It's because that's what we're programmed to focus on. See, all of us are programmed to lose. I actually say we were born to win with our God-given gifts, but we're programmed to lose. We're born to win with all of our, you, me, it's not genetically or where we were born that determines our destiny and our financial situation. We're all born to win, but we're programmed to lose. So how do we break free from that programming? Well, the first thing is we got to change our stinking thinking. That's self-talk. And one of the best ways that I found to do that is with declarations. See, I heard affirmations, but declarations are a little bit different because when you declare something, you add so much emotion and you declare it as if it's true right now. And I started realizing, wow, my self-talk is keeping me broke. So that same thinking is not possibly going to be able to give me the lifestyle that I know I deserve and I can have. And that's when we started changing our self-talk. We started developing and writing down specific declarations that we would say every single day. Every single day. It was the starting point. We started to trust in God, that God didn't design us to live in lack, to live in scarcity, to live in doubt. Because you can't live in faith and doubt at the same time. You can't be in fear and faith at the same time. You have to choose one. Just like you can't have excuses or results, you got to choose one. And which one do you choose? Well, we chose faith. We chose faith, but in order to have faith, we also got to do our part. We got to do our part. And the first thing that we started doing is we made a list of declarations that we wanted to own. We wanted to start directing our mind on where God wanted us to go. And that was through declarations. That was the starting point. So over the next several days, several weeks, I'll be doing one masterclass just like this. And each masterclass will be a different topic. Some will be specific things that we did that can possibly help you out. Other things may be some resources that will provide for you. But the first starting point for those of you that are interested and want to take your game, and you're not just about hearing things, but you're about applying things, because there's a difference between knowledge. I've heard it said knowledge is power. I call that BS. That's a bad belief system. Knowledge is not power until you apply it. It's the application of the knowledge that turns into power. So for those of you that are here that want to take that next step and you want to start declaring where you want to go, and maybe you're at a place right now where you've been praying for something, praying for some information, praying for some wisdom, praying for some resources. That's who I'm talking to you right now. I actually developed 20 of the best financial freedom declarations that we've been saying for years, that we developed, that helped us make that transition. And for those of you that would like to download those, I put them up on a website for you. All you got to do is go to warriorsandqueens.com, download declarations, warriorsandqueens.com/download declarations. I'll put it in the comment feature here. Once you click on it, one of the reasons I'm also doing this, I'm looking for like-minded people. Put your information in. You'll opt into our Warriors and Queens newsletter. I like to send out information just like this to help people take their life, their game, their relationships to the next level. And as soon as you fill that out, boom, you'll get access and be able to download the PDF of financial freedom declarations. You can download it right to your phone and computer. I would encourage you to print it out. But do me a favor, don't just go there if you're just going to feel good that you did something. Literally, I would recommend printing it out and having it right by your nightstand. This is where the difference is. This is where the rubber meets the road. The difference between somebody who hears something and feels good about it versus somebody whose life changes is a person that applies it. Because these declarations are specifically handpicked by Yvette and I. These are the ones that we still use today to take our game to the next level, and we have it right by our nightstand. And we read it every morning as soon as we wake up. First thing we do is we pray to God and we thank God and we're grateful for a new day. We read our declarations and then we also read it right before we go to sleep. So it's the last thing that goes into our minds. So for those of you that are open to it, you can go to warriorsandqueens.com/download declarations. I'll put it in the comment feature as well. And I'll be tuning in again tomorrow between, again, 2 and 4 p.m. to do a masterclass. Tomorrow is going to be pretty amazing. We're going to go over debt elimination, because 2 ways to get wealthy: make a whole bunch more money, but also to eliminate debt. And you'll be amazed on how many of us end up getting into debt and didn't even know it. And it starts right as soon as we get right out of high school. And all of a sudden we start to get credit cards saying, oh, you have a great credit. We want to offer you this at this interest rate. And then all of a sudden we get sucked into that matrix of debt and we become slaves to the financial system. Tomorrow, we're going to teach you how to break free from that financial system. So I appreciate you guys jumping on. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know if you got some value from this. Feel free to forward it to somebody that you think may get some value from it as well. So with that, thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.